All right. You guys already know what it is. Terrific Tuesday, Taco Tuesday, whatever Tuesday you want to call it. Chaos Conversation. Go ahead and find us on, Facebook. Go ahead and find us on Twitter. Go ahead and find us, anywhere you can on social media here on YouTube. Because today we're going to go ahead and touch on one topic that's not here on the market. Well, not just in the market, but also all over social media. And we're going to talk about 2 divorces going on. I mean, none of us really know these people like that, but we do see them on TV a lot as far as what's going on with Judge Mathis and his lovely wife, soon-to-be ex-wife, and also Jennifer Lopez and her soon-to-be ex-husband, whether the news is real or not. I'm just glad it's out there in the social media because a few people, not as many, but a few people have reached out to me, spoken to me about it between time. They'll offer my conversations while I'm on the phone asking me about it. So today we have one guest that's supposed to be joining us. His name is James, and I'm going to go ahead and have him speak on his point of view of divorces and why divorces are not today what they used to be way back during our grandparents' time, for those of y'all who were 40 plus like me. And all right, we're going to get started these next few minutes. Hold tight. Well, all right. Here we go. Chaos Conversation in the building, man. Again, Taco Tuesday. And as soon as I get off this show, I'm going to go ahead and, go grab me some tacos. I'm not sure from where, though. I know the place that got the best tacos here in North Carolina, though. I ain't going to mention it. But, again, we're going to touch on divorces. Now, why in the world are divorces so high these days? And I think it was the 3rd or 4th person I had that reached out to me. I had 2 deep conversations with 2 different individuals. But the question was, why divorces, what's happening, what's going on with it? And I mean, I'll say it once again, I'm not afraid to admit it. I haven't been married yet. Okay. But for me, I'm someone who I don't believe in divorces once I get married, because that's why I take my time like I am now. And I do my homework on the woman I'm going to invest my time in. Some people, they just look at, hey, well, he's my preference, she's my preference, so let's jump the broom. And me, I don't work like that. But anyways, the one reason that I looked into why divorce rates are so high here, at least in the U.S., one reason I've found is that there was I think it was the Civil Rights Act that took place like in 1964. It was some law passed where they were like, well, women, a lot of you all had limited jobs before the Civil Rights Act. And so once the women's jobs were limited, it was like, she had to depend on her husband for a lot. She had to depend on, I'm talking about, this is back when 50,000 was the 6-figure, you used to be able to live off of 50,000 was like making 6 figures in today's time, where back then when a woman was limited that, what kind of work she could do. It's like the only job she could do, she couldn't work corporate America. She could only work like as a teacher and sometimes barely only as a needed nurse. But she couldn't, and like these days, women have more options and she don't need a man as much as she used to back in the days. And I said, well, that's one reason divorce is as high as it is. I'm like, because the economy has shifted, it's changed. A lot has happened since those times when our grandparents, got married and, they stayed married. And even though like some of the grandparents had to, send their kids into the tobacco field or whatever, some couples just had, the only way a woman could work is if she worked the family business. And so these days you got women who are making 6 figures working from home today. And then it's like, all right, here comes a man. And it's like, okay, well, what besides any financial need, how is this man going to provide and protect for her if she can do it for herself in so many ways? So that made me do a little bit of homework, and I don't have the exact, the exact date. I think it was around February of 1964. Again, when the bill was passed, when the law was passed, and that's one reason divorce rates are. That's one reason. Add to our divorce rates are skyrocketing. And we look at if it's true from what I heard, Judge Mathis and Jennifer Lopez, what they're going through. It's like, hey, it doesn't matter how many times you've been married. I think the one couple, they have been married for, I think it's like 39 years, going on 40, but all of a sudden they need to get divorced. Huh? I mean, that's their life, not too much into their business. But I also feel social media is a factor. Social media is a big factor in marriages, in relationships in general. And it's like, hey, being that social media is such a big factor, anybody, everybody, I mean, help me understand how a lot of you all want to be married. Like me, do I want to be married? Yeah. A lot of people want to be married. Okay. But are you preparing yourself to be to be the best husband, to be the best wife, whenever he or she comes in your life? Are you fully prepared for him? That's the part I catch a lot of people slipping on. Even sometimes myself, I'll catch myself slipping, and I'm not afraid to hit the brake and do whatever I need to do to make that happen, as far as bettering myself. But then also at the same time, when I tell folks, all day, every day, hey, did you do the mental health check on him or her? And a lot of times the answer is no. But you know what? There go our guest right there. And and yep, there he is. There's our man, James. I just met him today, but heard some great things about him. And James, can you hear us?
Yes, sir.
All right, bro. Yeah. If you get a chance, James, go ahead and let the audience know, man, who you are. A little bit about yourself, because I've already opened the subject door. Go ahead.
No doubt. Well, I'm James. Well, real quick, I just want to say, I don't know if you remember, we didn't officially meet, but we were on that what's the name thing, and we had that conversation
Yeah, the
in
group.
the group chat.
Yeah,
Yeah. But this is our first official meeting. I just wanted to clear that up for the world.
it's
But
all
yeah,
good.
my name is James Mike. I go by James Mike, artist, MC, owner of CEO of Dog Life Apparel brand, all that good stuff. New North Carolina, from Detroit.
Detroit. Okay. Detroit, Michigan. I know what the door. Who's down in Detroit? The good old Joe Louis, Tommy Hearns, city man
Yes,
with Park
sir.
Gym.
Yes, sir.
I'm mad. I'm mad what they did to that gym down there, man. A whole different subject, but I'm mad what they did. This life. But
You
yeah,
know that.
man. Yeah. What we were touching on, man, is when I was touching on how Judge Mathis and Jennifer Lopez and all these other celebrities we know of going through divorces. Give us your intake of why you think divorce rates are so high compared to what they were for our grandparents, for those of us who are 40 plus.
It's definitely, it's definitely the social media. It's definitely.
Okay.
There's no other. I mean, if you just, I can't think of the word that they use, but if you just do the simple math of the equation, what was there, what wasn't,
Mm-hmm.
social media wasn't there. Like, you know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? Like this, and then this society becoming this quick, fast microwave society. Gotta have this and oh, and then you're fascinated by what you see in the world and all that. Social media,
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
social
man.
media still marriages.
Yeah, that's definitely, social media is definitely a factor. But here's one thing else I'm gonna say about this right here. And because don't forget, I think I had two I had two deep, long conversations, but I had a total of four conversations about this divorce, man. I'm like, all right, man. I don't think a lot of people who are in relationships or want to be in relationships are looking at it this way. But this is what I'm hearing. This is what I'm reading. This is what when I talk to other people, is a lot of women, they forget back in those days, man, in the 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, before the 60s come up and the law and there was the civil rights law passed or whatever. People forget men used to be the breadwinner and the woman took care of the house. So a lot of couples these days, they only want to pick the rules and be picky about what parts of the traditional times they want in the modern day relationships, in the modern day marriages. And then all of us, like you just said, social media coming in, kicking some of y'all assets all over the place. And it's
Uh,
like you're trying to hold, a lot of people are trying to hold on to the traditional way of how marriages are done. They're trying to hold on to the past and then trying to still live in the future. And people forget women's jobs were limited. So
right.
she had to depend on her man. And then also another factor why divorces are so high. And a lot of women, a lot of men and women won't admit this, but this is just going off of interviewing people who have been married, is, and some people who are thinking about getting married and are serious about it, is like The only way a man took care of a woman like that is when she wore his last name. She was his property.
Yeah, that's what that.
That's another thing that's not going on as often these days.
I ain't like that. That property, like it's not about being property. Like,
well, I mean, back in the days, that's what they considered some women. That's what they considered most wives to be. That's why she wore his last name.
yeah, but it was a lot. I mean, like a lot of the stuff from the back in the day shit was crazy too, because they had a lot of because especially in the black community.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? Like I don't know how the white community, but I mean, but tell you the truth, they have shit going on too. You know what I'm saying? But for specifically in the black community, the way it was arranged, that whole thing that happened in slavery with making the woman depend on the white man, the quote unquote white man, it just translated through time. You know what I'm saying? Like because they couldn't have us in the house, we couldn't be in the house. Oh, we can. Okay, y'all not married, or y'all not married, but y'all got a baby. Okay, well check this out. We'll give you some money, but you got to put him out. We'll help you take care of that baby, but and then black women was in a position back then too, also as well, because it's like they got to take care of the baby. They want the man in the house, but the man can't find a good job because all the jobs is ran by white folks. You know what I'm saying? So so that created this, man.
Yeah, it created again a bunch of chaos, man. And that right there, man, it was. I mean, if I'm pretty sure there were men and women who had the same mental health issues they do in today's time, but it was something they had to fight and they had to just overcome that because life was hard enough as it is.
And they ain't had no psychiatrist. There ain't nothing about psychiatrists going to the psychiatrist and doing all that. They ain't
not back in them days. It was, hey man, just go out there, go to work or try to find some work. I mean, and you had, like I said, single mothers who were, just scuffling to get every penny, nickel, and dime they can to make it, just to keep their head above water with their children by the left, right, and front, and back side, just to make it. And then, but you look at our grandparents, man, for a lot of people, like, well, our grandparents were made, 30 years to the death do they part. And it's like, okay, what happened? I mean, they stayed married a lot longer, but I feel it was because, like I said, these days, I feel a lot of people are spoiled. And like you just said earlier, social media is playing a factor.
Mm-hmm.
You got men and women who are wanting a lot of what they see on TV, a lot of what they see on social media. But back then, like you said earlier, only TV you had was like 3 stations with the rabbit ears, man.
Yeah. And then the closest thing they had to that would be the magazines that they could get at the store.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? That'd be the closest thing they had to the internet would be the magazines.
See, back in the days, I started seeing because I used to stay in LaGrange. I used to stay in LaGrange, North Carolina, and I remember back in them days, you didn't see as many divorces back then because they needed each other because they were still picking tobacco back in them days. I mean, they still are now. It's just not as on demand.
Right.
But you saw couples stay together, and you could tell like the husband is miserable, or because the husband's working 3 or 4 jobs. The wife is miserable because, for whatever reason, her man's not there to give her quality time. And it's like, but they stayed together. And it's like, well, why was that? And it was because
they had
one reason. Now I'm saying one reason is you're both struggling. So you both know that if you depart, if you guys go, different ways, you both know you're gonna struggle even more. And like you said, you end up on the welfare, just depending on the system that's been put in place for us.
Yeah.
So I was like, but these days, man, I mean, you got women who got the option to make 6 figures working from home. You got nurses. I mean, ever since the COVID came, you got some people who you got some women who can make 6 figures, alone.
Mm-hmm.
Back in the days, yeah, but I mean, divorce rates are higher. Like social media is one, but also I'm going back to what I said earlier. I feel like a lot of women and a lot of men, you all are being too specific and too picky about what traditional ways you want to have your marriage, and then what modern ways what modern things you want to have in your marriage. And that from old school and new school, that is starting to collide, and it's colliding. It's not adding up though. It's not 2 pieces of a puzzle you're putting together. It's like 2 magnets that are resisting each other, and you're trying to make it happen, but it's just not meant to be. That's what I believe it is more than anything.
You know what? One thing that I'm learning. Okay, let me real quick. just to keep it simple like this. Animals in the world, they don't go through divorce and shit like that.
No.
You know what I'm saying? They don't do that. They, because they have their purpose. A squirrel wake up, a squirrel like, shit, you know what? I gotta go get these nuts. And the squirrel don't think about doing nothing but running around and going to get the nuts. And when they're not getting nuts, they're having some fun. So they be chasing each other. That should be looking fun as hell. You know?
I know what you're talking about.
They be running and jumping over the trash can and shit in the tree. I be like, man, that shit look fun as shit.
You got to run them over too.
Yeah. But
we be swerving all over the place trying to avoid them sometimes too, trying to keep them alive.
Listen, they don't worry about all that other outside shit. A squirrel not even worried about getting hit by a car. Because imagine if squirrels was like, man, there's cars out there. We can't go out there. And now they sitting in the tree instead of them going to get nuts and moving like they're supposed to do. Now the ecosystem fucked up because the squirrels then got scared because they saw their friend get run over by a car. They said, oh shit, we can't go out there. We might get ran over by a car. We have to, as humans, what I'm learning is we have to get into our God nature. And then this is that 50-50 conversation. We talk about traditional. We talk about how it's supposed to be. Men be like, yo, they don't want to respect me. They don't want to listen to us. They want to all that type of shit. But we have to ask ourselves, are we living in our God purpose?
Yep.
If you living in your God purpose, you're gonna be able to take care of the house. You ain't got to worry about 50-50. Because if you live in your God purpose, God gonna supply everything that we need. But we gotta be doing our part. If we doing our part, all our needs, our house note, car note, food, all that shit, we're gonna be taken care of. Just the same way God take care of those squirrels. It's nuts. When they can just, he got us even tighter.
Yeah. And you know what's happened, man? This is one thing I have learned right here is a lot of people, like you said, a lot of married couples, they may fall apart because they stop doing their part. And then you know what they do? This is all they start doing is blaming the other party for why their part ain't working out. But when I be asking folks who are married, and I be asking folks who are trying to, stay married and trying to get married, is, hey, why in the world did you stop doing your part, huh? That's all I want to know. Why in the world did you stop doing your part? Like James just said, man, because when you stop doing your part, that's when the alarms go off and a lot of chaos starts to happen in the relationship and the marriage. And it's like you just said, man, we will get distracted by social media. We, a lot of times, even as human beings, I say we as human beings, not as married couples, but as some married couples will do this, they'll look at the social media, they'll look at the movies, they'll look at what's going on around them, not minding their business of what they were meant to do, supposed to do, and as a wife, as a husband. And when they start getting distracted of, hey, this wife has her husband taking her out on a cruise, that must ain't nothing but for a few clicks and likes, and that's it. It's not even real. And then this husband like, well, this woman does this for her husband, for her man. Why don't you do this for me? And they try to compare themselves to what's in the movie. I'm like, movies are acting, and you're gonna sit here and take acting into your marriage. You're gonna take what's going on social media for a bunch of clicks, likes, and subscribers into your marriage. You're going to take what your friends are doing for their spouses into your marriage. And it's not, but James, we just talking about, man, it's not minding the business that, it's not minding the business that pays you. It's not minding the business that's yours.
And then on top of that, they didn't even tell you that when they went on that cruise, that when they came back, they had to get on the payment plan because they spent all that. They didn't even tell you that part. Yeah. They didn't tell you that part. No. He'd tell you that the reason why his wife is doing all that shit because she caught him fucking the dude she's trying to make up for it. You know what I'm saying? They didn't tell us that part. Now that ain't everybody.
It's not, no.
But it's still, that's why you can't compare. That's why we can't compare. That's why we have to that's why I say it's so important to dig into yourself.
Yeah, but check this out, James. I'll tell you one thing that men and women do this, but I've known more women to do this than men. And that is, you take a married couple, okay? I mean, like, I haven't read the details. I don't even know the details of why Jennifer Lopez is getting divorced, right? But Here's what I have noticed. Ladies, if you want to make note of this, go ahead. And fellas, same for y'all. If y'all make note of this. If a man has to pay his way in to be your man, to be your husband, if he has to pay his way in, meaning he has to have in real life what his woman wants him to have, whether it's money, whether it's a house, luxury car, luxury home, vacation and three. If a man has to have all that and be the provider and do all that, right, James?
Mm-hmm.
What happens when he loses all that? Because it's almost like he's buying his way into her to be her husband. And when he has to have all that and then he loses it, like MC Hammer did, and then some other man has more than he does, it's like, okay, what is she saying? Is she saying she's gonna let him go?
To escape.
You said what now?
I said she ought to escape.
And people wonder why divorce rates are so high. I'm like, listen, that's why I'm always asking women. I mean, ladies, you can drop your comments in the comment section, or let me give you this number you can dial into right now if you want to, and you can, give me a call. I'll put you right here on speaker. You can dial 984-464-0688, and I'll put you on speaker to let you be heard. Because you got some women who are like, if you ain't got this, if you ain't got no car, no job, no this, no that, don't even call me or don't even look my way. I'm like, all right, woman, you want me to get down and deep? Fine. For those of y'all who believe in Jesus Christ, ladies, I'm gonna ask y'all this question. I'm being honest. If Jesus Christ was still living the last 3 years of his life, according to Scripture, if he was living the last 3 years of his life the same and living in today's time the same way he was before they crucified him, would Jesus Christ be able to qualify for you, ladies? Again, he owned no reliable transportation, which is an ass, a camel, or horse. He didn't even have a job, which was back then a carpenter, and nowadays it's corporate America. He didn't even own a tent or his own place to live, which is nowadays a single family home. So even if he traded in his life today, would he qualify for you women? That's the question. And normally the answer is no, no, and no. I'm not saying that's why divorce rates are so high, but what I am saying is a lot of women and men, they live that delusional. They live in that delusional dream world, man. It's like too many women, too many men. They want what they see on TV. They want what they see in the entertainment world, and I'm still seeing it to this day. And then tell me what you think about this part too. It's like couples get married, right? I mean, because the only two couples that come to mind like that who have been married for a good while is LL Cool J and Morris Chestnut and Denzel Washington. Hopefully y'all a lot of y'all know who those people are. I don't know their wives like that.
Ice Cube been married for a while. Ice Cube and his girl been together.
Ice Cube also. Yeah, Ice Cube also. I mean, there's a lot of
Snoop and his wife. That's the funniest one. That's the funniest one is Snoop and his wife, because he's been the biggest pimp, and I don't love these hoes, and then we grew up listening to it. The whole time this nigga had a wife.
That's the baby.
I mean,
if you really think about the entertainment and the money, man, and I ain't mad at him for that. But yeah, Snoop.
But if you really think about it, if you flip it like this, if you flip it like this, he's right, because he got a wife. So why would I love you hoes?
Mm-hmm.
I don't love you hoes.
And that part right there, man, is what I tell folks. When you've been married for that long, like, I mean, I ain't gonna lie. If I ever get a chance to interview any of them, I wouldn't shy away to. I would rather interview the husband and the wife, not just the husband, because there's questions like the only other man that comes to mind is a guy like Larry Holmes. He's been married since '78, and I just saw his documentary on YouTube the other day where he, like, after he won the title from Ken Norton, he told, "Hey, wife." Hey, well, then his girlfriend, like, hey, get ready because we getting married. That was like his biggest check or something. But see, people like her, man, they're kind of in between when the laws changed that she could work. But Larry was in a position where he made millions, so she didn't have to work if she didn't want to. Right. Look how he ain't worked for over, I think, 20 years now. I was here in North Carolina. He kicked Bone Crusher Smith's butt for the second time, and I think that was like his third or fourth final fight. But I mean, his wife don't have to work if she don't want to my knowledge.
Right.
But I mean, he's a man. He's kind of old school. And then you look at how he was making millions. Okay, well, you got some guys like you and me, Jane. I don't know if you make millions or not, man, but I don't make millions like that. So because we ain't got that, people think that's why you can't have no no wife. I'm like, listen. This is, again, haven't been married yet, but talking to people who have been married, James,
I've been married.
I'm wrong. It's not happy wife, happy life. It's happy man is also God's plan.
No, it's what the one I like happy spouse, happy house.
There you go.
You know what
That
I'm
was
saying?
I was getting ready to say that. It wouldn't come to mind like that. I
Yeah,
was also
there
getting
you
ready to
go.
say that one also. Now,
Happy spouse, happy house. You know what I'm
yeah,
saying? Like shit. So that goes for both of them.
there you go.
You know what I'm
And the
saying?
kids also, man, and the kids also.
Yeah. And let me tell you something. Okay, so I want to shout out. I want to give a shout out. If you're not familiar, are you familiar with Myron Golden?
No,
Look up his YouTube page.
okay,
He teaches business principles, but he teaches business, but he uses Bible principles.
okay.
And it's not religious at all. He hate religion. He's like, this is not religious. This is all spiritual. You know what
There
I'm
you
saying?
go.
But it's so much life game in that, and the stuff that he be in the Bible and the shit that he be talking about. So for one, I went through a whole little life change, purpose. You know what I'm saying? All type of stuff like that. I ain't gonna get to all that right now.
Uh,
But one of the things that I've been learning from him, and one of my best lessons that I picked up over the last, I think the first time I heard that message, it might have been 2 years. He talked about Solomon's prayer.
okay.
I don't know if anybody knows Solomon's prayer, how it goes or what it was. It was, Lord, grant me the wisdom to serve the people that you gave me to serve in the way that you would have me serve them. You know what I'm saying? So that's when God said, oh, well, since you asked for that, I'm going to give you that, but I'm going to give you everything else that you didn't ask for. You know what I'm saying? So one of the things that I get, and then this is how you, and this is, he used it as a business principle, but it goes into life. Like teach. So when my prayer for God is for God to give me the wisdom to serve my wife
Mhm.
the way that he would have me to serve her. And that goes the same way. The wife should be like, Lord, give me the wisdom to serve my husband the way that you would have to serve him. And then it goes, you add that to your kids. Lord, give me the wisdom to serve my kids the way that you would have me serve my kids. And then that's the way that we need to learn to like flip and like teach, talk, approach everybody. So when I look at it, I'm like, Lord, give me the wisdom to serve Bruce the way you would have me serve Bruce. You know what
Mhm.
I'm saying? So
And,
that's what it's all about.
it's good you brought that topic up because I just got a text message. I say it's not. It's a social media message. Somebody watching. Here's a question they had because they can hear me on another social media. Here's a text I just got. Do I feel that divorces are skyrocketing because people are not going to church as families the way they used to? And ever since, yeah, since COVID, they say the numbers have been dropping in a lot of churches nationwide. Huh, that's a good point. That's an interesting question right there too. Do I feel that that's a factor? Um, I feel it can be if your household is religious. I mean, it's fine, all respect. That's fine. But do I feel it's a factor? Yeah, it possibly could be because again, to each family, to each his own. But when you start one way as a marriage and then you let something that important you let that big of a something that's that big that means that much to the family, and you stop going, and it's like, okay, but you're still expecting to live this, happy house as a happy spouse. You try to live as happy spouses in this house, but then so you let something that is that important to both of you all. Sometimes even the kids go. Yeah, I feel that it'll play a factor. It doesn't have to. It's either like, hey, it's okay to take a rest from it. It's okay to not go, but at the same time, I feel like some couples will stop holding each other accountable for what they're here for, who brought them together. If a couple starts to say, "Hey, God brought us together," and then you start to say, "Okay, well, it's hard to say, well, God took us apart." It's hard to blame, but when you stay together for whatever religion you and your family's going to believe in, doesn't matter. That's when you can some couples will be like, well, one will stop going, but one will stay. Or sometimes they both stop going, and the devil may, find their way into their marriage a lot faster or a lot slicker, I should say. What
Right.
do you think, James? Do you think couples going? You think married couples going to church with their kids, or just married couples going to church? Period is a factor why divorces are higher.
Well, because I mean, in a sense, I can say that, but because I'm not, and I fell away from the religious aspect of it,
Hmm.
I'm gonna say like I'm gonna want to disagree with it. But at the same time, I agree with I agree with what the question was, with the I guess the underlying point of what they were saying. You know
Hmm.
what I'm saying? I agree with the underlying point. It's not necessarily the church, but it's more or less about, it's more about God. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? It's less about going to church and staying together, but more about having God in your life to keep you together. You know what I'm saying? Because you don't have to go to church. If you got God in your life, if you read your Bible and you just and you stay in tune with what the Spirit is, then it's not necessarily about church. It's more about God. You know what
There
I'm
you
saying?
go.
People go to church to try to get God, but but we don't understand that God is already in us and He's with us. And that book gives us a lot of information, and it tells you how to do things the right way. And it's not about the religion. It ain't about going to church. It's about being with God.
Yep. You said it, man. You said, you know what? There's a lot of people, man, who there's a lot of people who think they think that because one doesn't go to church, that that's the reason they go through tough times, rough times. I mean, I know people who are not even religious and are successful, and they still go through tough times. And like you, I've kind of I'm pretty spiritually independent as well because I stepped away when I was 25, and I'm 42 now. But I mean, to me, life has only. I'm not, like I said, not married yet, but still being patient. And for all y'all wondering, well, why, how in the heck is it I'm not married, but got all this advice, and it's because I studied relationships throughout my all four years I went to college. Even though I left there a sophomore, all my interviews, all my papers were based on relationships. I used to talk to people like James. I'd stop people like him and his girlfriend, him and his wife, him and I stopped him in public, and then Walmart shopping center, the mall, gas station. I didn't care where I was, and I'd get there. You know, I'd interview him right there on the spot. They didn't have all these cameras they had back in the days, though. This is back when they only had like Trio phones. iPhones weren't quite out yet. Well, smartphones weren't out yet. But yeah,
Let me tell you
I,
this.
yeah, man. So a lot of that, I still can remember what people told me face to face. Like one guy, I'll never forget. I've said this in previous shows where he was like, "What do you think, as a young man, while you're writing these papers, what do you think the biggest factor is in relationships and partnerships?" And I said, "Communication." He's like, "Well," and by this time, I don't even think the Cheesecake Factory was there yet, or it probably was just being built because it was my last year in school. It was one of my last papers. He was like, "Well, son, let me give you some education. It's not communication." He said it's respect. And I was like, he's like, "Let me give you the story." And I have to go because his table was reserved or whatever. He's like, if you ain't got but so much respect for your God, God can talk to you and communicate with you all day, every day. But when you have no respect for your God, nothing God says is going to sink into you. And he
Mm.
just, like nodded his head, like, let that sink in. And he just walked off and like, and
That's a
that stuck me pretty
that's a big
hard.
part right there.
It was.
That's
And
a big part. That's a
I was
big
like,
part.
when I hear people, and a lot of people wonder why is divorce so high, and why is divorce not what it used to be, and why is it, all this, why? Well, a lot of it starts with you as the husband, as the wife.
Listen, let me
And
tell you.
the best way, one of the best examples I can use is Michelle Obama. She was the breadwinner, and she's older than we are. She's at least 50, 60, somewhere around there. So she's one of the best examples where she was a breadwinner for the first 10 years of their marriage, of her marriage to President Barack Obama. So, but her being the breadwinner, it's like, hey, that's not normal for a woman to be the breadwinner and stay married that long. But look at him now. Look at him
Yeah.
now. I mean, yeah,
Michelle Obama, she did not only, but she also supported her man. If she was the breadwinner, but she didn't act like she was a breadwinner. You know what I'm saying? Like, not I'm not being there. I don't know. But I'm just kind of assuming she didn't act like she was the breadwinner because you know, where they're at right now and what they portrayed for us on TV and what we see. I'm just assuming she didn't act like she was the breadwinner. What I want to say, and it's perfectly evolved because I got divorced. You know what I'm saying? I was married for 7 years. We was together for 10. And for the first maybe year of our divorce, maybe not that long, I thought I was saying it was her because I didn't cheat on we didn't get divorced because I cheated. It wasn't no shit like that. You know what I'm saying? I felt like a lot of dudes felt like this. She was tough. She didn't like, she wasn't womanly. She was always trying to do everything. Yeah.
Like you're saying she has too much masculinity in her?
That's what in my mind during the first few months of our relationship, like of our divorce, that's what I was blaming for our divorce. Her having too much masculinity.
Mm-hmm.
But check this out. First of all, you listen to Nipsey Hussle?
Nah.
Man, next level, rest in peace, bro. Nipsey talked about some books, right? There's one particular book he talked about was The Way of the Superior Man. Are you familiar with it?
Nah, not yet.
Check it out. The Way of the Superior Man. I can't think of the name. The guy's name is David. Something weird I can't say. But the name of the book is The Way of the Superior Man.
All right.
I read this book about 3 times.
Okay.
I read it twice before me and my wife wind up getting divorced. You know what I'm saying? And it helped me see some things. It helped me do some things differently. You know what I'm saying? Some things that she noticed, and she was like, "Oh, that's different. I see." But we still wind up getting divorced. So then we've been divorced for a while. I've moved here by this time, and I said, "Let me read this book again. Let me read this again." I read this book, and then in this chapter, it was talking about women being masculine. It's ill that the first 2 times I read this, or actually listened to it, I don't think I heard this the way I heard it just then.
Mm-hmm.
It's like women are being masculine. Think about it. I'm just gonna paint it like this. Any good mother, if she got two kids, wouldn't you expect her to keep those kids first? If she's single. Now mind you, whatever happened for whatever reason, she got single. It's 2 different dudes. Both dudes had heart attacks. They died. Whatever reason you want to paint for her being single with 2 kids, she got 2 kids and she's single.
Yeah.
Any good mother, any good respectable mother, you would expect her to keep those kids first.
Yeah.
If you come into her life, you would expect her, any respectable woman, you would expect her to act a certain way for these kids. So us as men, we want to be the head. We want to be that guy. We want to be like, yo, you know what I'm saying? Like, yo, I'm the man of the house. You know what I'm saying? So
I'm the HMIC.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, if we want to be that, because that's our natural position. That's what we're supposed to be. That's what God built us for. Okay. You know what I'm saying? So if we want that position, whether we got kids or not, if we get with this woman that got these kids, we in turn have to take those kids the same way. And we have to ease her to the point so that she can feel. We have to make them feel that way.
Yeah.
And a lot of the times, and that's where when I say men have to dig into their purpose. And that thing about Jesus, I feel that because Jesus was living in his purpose.
Yeah.
So Jesus didn't have none of that, but he was doing exactly what God put him on the earth to do.
According to scripture, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So in that exact same vein, if we as men, and this part goes into us letting go of this public facade, being worried about what the other motherfuckers got going on. You know what I'm saying? Because a lot of times, a lot of us, you might have a good job making a couple $100,000 a year, but your real heart passion is in teaching kids. But you're not going to do that because you don't feel like you're going to make enough money to be able to live and look like a certain way you're supposed to look.
Hey, you know what that means, though, James? That means go get your side hustle on and be a tutor or something. Then
What that means is you follow your God-given passion. If that's what God put in you, you follow that, because that will make your life better than that $100,000 job.
Oh,
you gonna fuck around and have more resources.
A lot of those jobs are stressing the hell out of people to that, man.
And listen, a lot of that shit is because they're not following their God-given purpose. It's people who doing the exact same job as them. They stress the fuck out. They not stressed out. You know why? Because that's their God-given purpose.
That's their calling.
God put them on earth to be in that position. So they ain't work. They ain't stressed out. They're good. They like shit.
I got one question for you, James. I got one question, man. I ain't picking at you that bad, man. I have to ask, because I asked it to all our guests, man.
Shoot it.
Did you do the mental health check on wifey before you married her?
I mean, as far as I knew, but hey, I didn't do like no official, no, I didn't do that. But I'm gonna tell you what though. That ain't the reason why we divorced though. That ain't the reason why we divorced though.
I'm not saying it's the reason. I say it's a factor in a lot of relationships and marriages.
I mean, but hell, more important than me doing the the mental thing on her, I should have did it on myself.
That's good.
That's more important. That's more important. That's more important because then had I did my shit the way I was supposed to do it, then I would have seen what I needed to see, to where I wouldn't even have to put her through a mental test, because I see it already, because God already gave me the vision to see what I'm supposed to see.
That's one thing I'm telling people when people are saying check yourself before you wreck yourself. It's not just speaking of career. It's not speaking of just being married. It's kind of broad, but that's kind of what they're saying and speaking of is check yourself in that way also. And then because like you just said, unless you check yourself, none of us really know what the hell is
yourself.
See, if you don't even do the mental health check on yourself, it's okay to, man, because that way, like you just said, James, we know what to look for. We know what to expect. We know, like me, I can pick up on symptoms I can pick up on mental health symptoms, what I call them, pretty fast. I can pick on the traits pretty fast because, I mean, and that's speaking from experience. Like the whole time I've been single, I mean, I've been looking to better in myself. I don't act like I have all the answers. I've been looking to check it. I look for more ways to admit I'm wrong than to see if I can be right.
That's exactly.
And that's one way you can kind of observe. And people ask me, well, how do you even do a check? I kind of just told you, but that's only one way of doing one, is seeing when people are always trying to blame you when they know that they're at fault. That's one little thing to pick up on. Don't try to go out there and make it the case. Just live life, enjoy the dates, enjoy the time with them. But that's one little way to tell if, not that it's not guaranteed that the person has a mental health issue, man, because it can be anything small. Right. They can have, just because somebody has OCD does not mean they have a big mental health issue. No,
it's something you need to be worried about.
Some people are. Like, and what's the other one? What's it called when you come back from war and you're not?
PTSD.
PTSD. I mean, that's something else. This.
Like, listen,
it's gonna take time.
I ain't gonna front. My ex had PTSD from her relationship before me.
Okay, and
it was shit like in the beginning of our relationship.
Yep.
I couldn't she hated when I came in the house late. You know what I'm saying? Like, she hated because she had this thing dealing with him, because she dealt with abuse. You know what I'm saying? She's like, oh, when he come in the house late, she couldn't sleep at night. She's like, I can't sleep at night because I used to be up thinking about him coming in the house. You know what I'm saying? And shit like that. And all types of little shit that she dealt with that I mean, I helped her with, like during our relationship.
Yeah.
You know, I soothed her out of those things. But listen, yeah, that shit is real. I mean, men go
I
through it
bet
too.
it is, man. There was a young lady, man. Me and her sister dated for a good while. We were committed to each other for a good while, and then she had her wedding. I think she was just having this guy's child, but she also has some kids of her own,
Right.
and she's the one who opened up my eyes, man, about doing mental health checks on people, because she found out during the whole time she was dating, committed to this man, she never knew he was on medication to prevent his schizophrenia.
Hmm.
She never knew he was on medication. And I mean, when I say to do the mental health check, I mean, there's things like that. You don't have to, if you come out and ask somebody if they have a mental health issue, more than likely they're going to say no, because not even going to admit they have it. Again, another
Right.
clue. But do stuff like go meet his parents, go meet his family. I don't care if they're across the country, like we're in North Carolina on the East Coast. I don't care if they're as far as China to California. That's something you have to do if you can see yourself marrying this person, not just because you're getting ready to have, she's getting ready to have your child, or he's getting ready to, be the father. No, you have to do your homework, because this is a new life you're bringing on board. This new life didn't ask to be here, but this is, and you have kids of your own. So even if the man or woman you want to marry may have mental health issues and you're not aware of them, you have to do some digging. That's why it's dating and communicating and commitment before marriage, so you have enough time to do all that. Too many of y'all trying to be Fantasia and her husband, and just see a man and be with him for 3 days and marry him the fourth day. It's not going to work all the time, man. It's not going to work all the time.
That shit don't happen like that all the time, man.
That's what I'm saying, man. But see,
it happens, but
like you said though, James, they see it on social media, they hear it on the news, and then they want to be like that. People see Jay-Z and Beyonce. I mean, I don't know them like that, but they're both in the music industry, and they're both millionaires before they married each other. They both were well respected, well known. But people are trying to take their lives and live the poor life of that, trying to live the middle class life like that. But for me, I'm a man who divorce is not going to be an option. We're going to either work through it, or we're not going to. I'm going to be like daggum old girl from the Cosby Show. I forgot her name, man, but she's been committed to the same man or engaged to him for over 20 years. I forgot her name. I think her name in the Cosby Show was Vanessa. You know what I'm talking about?
I know the dark skinned one, right?
Yeah, she was like the second oldest under Theo in the Cosby Show, but she's been engaged or with her man for over 20, I think 30 years. I can't even know the exact, but they've never been married. But see, that's what works for them. That's what works for them. And in today's time, man, divorces would not be as high, for one, of social media. For another, if a lot of you all would stop trying to be like those around you and just, again, mind the business that pays you. That's your marriage. And like James was saying,
to yourself.
Yeah. And don't be trying. And another thing is, stop putting so much of your business out there. The way you do things is not the way your neighbor, your friends, your siblings, not your parents or that's not the way things are always going to happen. Times have shifted, and you heard me say, James, you probably heard me say that a few times, man. There is no rule book on how to live in a partnership, relationship, marriage. You have to do what works for you and your spouse, you and your family. And when that's another thing is, a lot of people who are married now, a lot of couples, a lot of y'all you keep trying to take too many bits and pieces of others. You can't keep doing that, man, and then blaming the other party, blaming everybody but yourself.
Yeah, I'm
I mean, you can speak from experience. You said that you were with her 10 and married 7.
Yeah. I'm gonna say this: as far as a rule book, I wouldn't say a rule book, but there are foundational.
Yeah.
There are foundational pieces that, you know what I'm saying, that if you stand on these foundations, that if your foundation is on that, then you will be good. You know what I'm saying? But it's like, and even for my relationship, for the things that my ex had going on, had I been on my shit like I was supposed to be, we would still be together. I ain't even gonna front. That's even with her issues. Because again, understand, us as men, she had kids. You know what I'm saying? Understanding that us as men, that's our duty. That's what we built for. You know what I'm saying? We're built for this. You know what I'm saying? Like, but we've kind of lost it because a lot of us didn't have fathers in the house, and you know, a lot of other different things, and social media and all that type of shit. We lost it, but we still built for it. We still built for it. We're not trained for it, but we were built for it. And we just gotta, kind of like my man Derek Gray say, unlearn and relearn. You know what I'm saying? It's like, cause I promise you on everything, bro. Like my ex, she had some shit. And now that we're divorced, the things, and I hope if she sees this, she know I love her, but we know it's this knowing, but the things that was, we're not gonna get back. But if we never split, those things wouldn't stop us from going the rest of a lifetime. You know what I'm saying? Because me as a man, my love would have overpowered that shit. The same way over the first few years, I love the way her PTSD to where she could now sleep at night. Her ass went from waking up at 12 o'clock, 2 o'clock in the morning, just getting up and looking around to snoring all night. You know what I'm saying? So
you know what? I came up with this nickname, man, for people who snore. I started calling them. I mean, this is just anybody. I don't care if you're a child, a man, woman. Where I started calling them Tyrannus Snoring Rex.
Yeah, hey, definitely, yeah. Hey, listen, she went from being a night owl, not being to being able to sleep to a Tyrannosaurus Rex.
Hey, man.
You know what I'm saying? And that's where my love took her. You know what I'm saying? And it took her from that point. But had I understood what I needed to understand and been doing what I was supposed to be doing, my love would have took her to the next level. That next level she was at, where I had to love her through, it would have got her there, and then we would have been able to grow old together.
Do you think a lot of modern couples in today's time, do you think they give up too easy?
Yeah, because social media. That's why they give up too easy. They give up too easy because of social media. You know,
okay. So
I feel like social media, that's his biggest culprit. Like it makes us give up too easy because we see so many options. You be like, oh, fuck this shit. I go get somebody else.
Well, okay. So what do you say about couples who are going to turn around and say they don't even do social media?
They lying.
No, I mean, like, for example, my brother, he doesn't do social media. My dad doesn't. I got some friends that don't do social media, so that's what I'm asking.
And they get divorced, and they got divorced fast.
They didn't get divorced fast, but let's just say they're no longer married. Some people I know are no longer married.
Oh, well, I don't know each particular situation, so I'm not going to speak on. So I don't know each of those particular situations because hell, all you gotta do is add one little piece of flavor and it change the whole shit. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know each particular intricacies and all those different things. You know what I'm saying? But the foundational thing that I would say and why we got divorced is because somewhere along the line we lost touch with ourselves and we started focusing on something else other than the marriage. Somewhere along the line, they got crossed. Or in the beginning, we got married because a lot of times, especially older couples, got married for the wrong reasons. A lot of couples got married because they had kids.
There you go.
You know what I'm saying? A lot of couples got married because they had kids, and because you had kids, imagine you ain't got no kids, but imagine dudes got married to every chick they had babies with. Like,
yeah, and they're wondering, like, you know, why you got 3 or 4 wives or 3 or 4.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like that. A lot of times, that's what happened. A lot of times they were young. Oh shit, you got pregnant. Damn, we got to get married. Now we married, and now we go ahead and have 3 or 4 more kids.
And that's what I mean right there by people trying to take bits and pieces of traditional times and trying to live them in these modern times, and it's not working because back in the days, man. That's what they used to do. Whoever you had a baby by, that's who you had to marry. And again, times were way different back then than they are now. I mean, this is
past that.
Yeah, I know. And so in these last 4 minutes we got here, man, on the show. One other thing I wanted to ask. I also feel like it's a lot of couples, again, not married, ain't got to be married to tell y'all this, But I feel like in this generational time, we don't have as many couples who are married who will go to counseling and therapy to try to make it work. As James was just saying, they let go too fast, and it's like sometimes you got some couples who go to a preacher,
Definitely
but a
not.
preacher is not a counselor. He's not. That's not therapy. That's not what he went to school for. I mean, he's there to pray for you guys as a family, but you cannot count on the pastor. You have to go to therapy and go to a therapist who that's what they went to a school for. That's what they studied. That's what they mastered. But that's another reason why I think divorces just are as high as they are. I mean, that's what 52, 54%, somewhere around there.
I mean, I don't know the numbers.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But I know they're high because I know a lot of people who get divorced. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
man.
I know
For me,
yeah, I
it's
know.
no option for me. I'm sorry. It's not. That's why I've been as patient as I have. That's why I mean I do my homework. And I mean, there's been like four or five, not take back, 3 or 4 women who have wanted to marry me. But the only thing with the reason why didn't I move forward with it? And it was just as simple as when I met her. I've said this in previous shows I've done. When I met her, she was single, no kids. I wasn't the highest man on demand at the time.
Mhm.
She just decided to push the healthy living brother me aside and go chase after the men who were, high on demand. I wouldn't care if they looked like Michael Jordan, if they looked like Denzel Washington, whatever celebrity they looked like, Lil Wayne, it didn't matter. She went and chased him. And then after she had his child, she went to come back to me and want to marry me because she sees the happy life I'm living, the things I have now. I mean, to be living a life, I only have 1 degree, but the only debt I have is my mortgage. You know what I mean? So when she saw me living like that, it's like, oh, you gonna want to be with me? You gonna marry me now? Oh, you gonna say I'm a good man now? Okay, where the heck were you these year? Where the heck were you these past 8 to 10 years ago?
To those, I say the only thing you can do for me is the same thing you did for them niggas. Suck this.
Hey man,
That's about
all
it.
I say is,
That's about
all I
all you
say
can do.
is,
If you want
bye
to do
Felicia.
that, if other than that, you can kick rocks, bitch. Beat it.
Hey, yeah, I'd be like, bye Felicia, bye man, because I mean that shows me right there though, David, and David James.
Beat it.
Yeah, that's it. My bad, Jay. Tell me if I'm wrong, man. Tell me if I'm. But if a woman or man comes to you and wants the best, that is a flag. Again, that's that flag on the play right there, man. That's that flag on the play that you can't be with me for tough times. You only want me during good times, and that's the same as she would do if we got married. She would only want to be with me for the good times, but not when they got bad.
It's straight like this. This is. I'm gonna tell you
Got one
like
minute.
this.
Go ahead.
Tell you like the TI is, and this is for life and everything. Be who the you want to be. So, goddamn it, if you want a good husband or a good wife, be a good husband or a good wife. You be that first.
Yep.
You be that first before you even get a husband or a wife. You be a good one first. You do
Yep.
that first.
Because you know what? That
You
that right there in itself, that says it all, man. And that's what a lot of couples, I feel, if you're not married yet, but you want to get married, that's what I feel a lot of men and women should do. Like he just said, like James just said, man, be the good man, be the good woman first, and prepare yourself to be the good husband, good wife
like
before
that.
you get engaged, before you find him or her. Keep working on yourself, and also, like James said, was do the mental health check on yourself. Don't be afraid to. There's nothing bad about it, because if you find out what you learned while doing the mental health check on yourself, what you're going to learn is what you'll be able to pick up on and help the man, help the spouse out, help your woman out with, if he or she happens to have one. Now, I'm not saying you're going to get all the answers, because split personality is way different than PTSD. Narcissism is different than a lot of other mental health issues than bipolarism. I mean, they're all different. But if you do the mental health check on yourself, you will be able to pick up on small things that matter in a partnership, in a relationship, man. But I mean, again, just want to let y'all know in closing. Again, this is Chaos Conversation, man. Jay, glad to have you, man. I have to invite you back too, man.
Doglikeapparel.us.
That's what's up, man. Again, Chaos Conversation.
Doglikeapparel.us. Appreciate you for having me.
Comment, and share if you get a chance. Come find us on Facebook. Come find us on Twitter, Instagram. We out here, man. And without,
Yes, sir.
y'all next time. Peace.